Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They're the same with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, push more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Hey everybody, Dan from Gym here, and now we are finally in the peaking phase of our training. So this is always the most exciting, the most build up to the competition. All the work has been done, and now we're basically trying to just prepare ourselves to best demonstrate what we can lift on the platform. So just like the previous training blocks, this is based off of the videos by Renaissance Periodization, and those will be linked in the description down below. And the biggest thing for this training mesocycle is I'm not going to have a max out week. The max out day will be the competition day. So typically I have an RPE 7 week, and then I go 8, 9, 10 and deload. Instead, this time I will have RPE 7 week as well, RPE 8, just like normal, except this time I'm slightly reducing the number of sets I do. RPE 9, I am reducing a lot of the sets I'm doing. And then a deload week, with the end of that deload week being the meet day on the Saturday. So that's the key difference. It's actually really interesting because what I have found is sometimes when you're going for an RPE 9 weight, you get a little nervous and you feel pretty tired after, and that's not even your max out weight yet. But in the peaking phase, your volume is dropping as you're tapering off for the meet. And basically what that's doing is that's allowing you to drop your fatigue levels and maintain your strength levels as much as possible for the meet, so you can basically just go out and crush all your numbers. And so when you're doing this taper, it's interesting to hit these RPE 9 weights for singles and doubles, and then you finish the workout and you're kind of thinking, okay, I have quite a bit of energy left here. This isn't usually how this heavy of a day feels. So it's a lot of fun. Obviously you can't peak all year round because then you wouldn't ever improve likely, but it's a really good way to change things up too. So that's why if you're not sure about doing a meet but you do kind of want to test your maxes, I'd say, maybe once, twice a year, run through your own peak phase and do a taper and then do a gym meet yourself. You might enjoy that, and maybe that's enough to convince you to try an actual competition. So anyway, getting into our attempt selections. So the biggest thing for attempting the 1 rep max is to understand that everything is percentages, and I don't do my weights in percentages per se, but in a way it's the percentages are all happening behind the scenes. So for example, lots of people will be aware about 1 rep max calculators. So you can go online, Google 1 rep max calculator. You can enter in the most weight you've done for 5 reps, and then it will tell you the most weight you can do for 1 rep. And it's based off of percentages. So it might say, like, if your 1 rep max is 100%, then your 2 rep max is like 97%, and 3 rep max is 94%. So if you know your 3 rep max, you can divide it by 94%, and it will give you a higher number, which is your 1 rep max. Did I say that correctly? Yes, I said that correctly. However, what I do, rather than having a spreadsheet with all these percentages, I really just go off of my own experimental data. So rather than percentages, I just know the weight increments for jumps. So, and I've mentioned before, for squats, if I decrease the reps by 1, I can increase the rep by 15 pounds. So normally you would say my 3 rep max is 505 pounds for squat, and then if you divide that by 94%, you get a number, and that would be your max. And what I've found that pretty reliably is if I can do 505 pounds for 3 and I take off 2 reps, so my 1 rep max, then I can do 535 pounds for 1. So I'm still doing those percentages behind the scene, it's just a little bit more off of experimental data. For example, with my bench press, my 3 rep max is 350 pounds with a pause. And if you enter that into a 1 rep max calculator, it will probably tell you my 1 rep max is about 370. But I know that's not true, because when I did bench 370 pounds in competition, I could not bench 350 pounds for 3. So I have found that with a pause bench, it's still that 15 pound increment, which is higher than what that calculator would tell you. So it's good to figure out those numbers for yourself after a while. And if you're not sure at first, honestly, the percentages is the best way to start off, and then you can tweak it as you go. For example, I found for a while that squats, I could probably increase by 16 pounds for every rep I take off. Well, I'm not increasing the weight on the bar by 16 pounds, so that's just not realistic. So I just keep it at 15, and it's a little bit more conservative that way. So now that we're going into a meet, it's important that we get this attempt selection correct. So I have this futuristic presentation tool here to talk about my attempt selection. So basically, for all of my attempts, the thought process is my 3 rep max is my first attempt, my 2 rep max is my second attempt, and then my 1 rep max, what I think it is my third attempt. Except now that I'm a little bit more experienced, one thing I do is, instead of doing my exact 3 rep max for my opening attempt, I lower the weight just a little bit just to make sure everything's going well that day, because you really don't want to go out and do your opening attempt and fail that and find that, okay, things are way off. Now you're spending your entire meet trying to just hit your openers and survive, which is not what to do. You want to be at the meet to thrive, not to survive. Anyway, so my 3 rep max, we know from my previous video for squat, is 505 pounds. So I back that off a little bit to 496 pounds, which gives us 225 kilos. Then I take a 10 kilo jump to 518 pounds, and my 2 rep max is estimated to be about 520 pounds. So that's great. Bench press, it's pretty similar. My 3 rep max is 350 pounds. I'm a lot more confident in my bench press, so I'll stick with 347 pounds as my actual opening attempt. And then I jump the weight up to 363 or 165 kilos for my second attempt. And then lastly, for deadlift, I'm backing off 10 pounds, so my 3 rep max is 610 pounds, and instead I'm doing 600, and my 2 rep max I think is 630 pounds. So it's just backed off a little bit, which is 628 pounds. If you want to get really advanced and get into the weeds on this, another thing to consider is the order in the attempts that you go. For example, in squats, the heavier you squat, the later you go in the flight of lifters that come out. The people with the lower squat numbers are squatting first, and it gets heavier and heavier and heavier as you go through the process. However, if you take a big jump to your second attempt, and you were one of the last squatters to do their second attempt, and then you can only do a small jump for your third attempt, and everyone else takes the same size jump as normal, now instead of lifting at the end on your second flight, you're lifting right away earlier on the third, and you don't get as much of a break. So that's one reason to try and keep things consistent, is that it regulates your break during the competition process. However, in reality, a lot of people start to struggle at their second attempt. The two ways that I have noticed of people making their attempt selection is the first one, which is like mine, doing your 3, 2, and 1 rep maxes. But the other method that I've seen is your first attempt is same 3 rep max. Your second attempt is what you think your best is, and then your third attempt is you're absolutely sending it to see what your body can do. So that's a little bit tougher. So that's where you have a bigger jump between your first and second attempts, and then you'll see a lot of people doing a 2.5 kilo jump or a 5-pound jump between their second and third attempt. And that isn't necessarily something that's wrong. It's a good way to push your total, but not be totally consequential if you miss a lift as well. And I can talk about that a little bit later. I've got my attempts written here, and then what I do is, because my 1 rep max is in pounds and the attempts have to be in kilos, I do a 3A and a 3B. Basically, usually 3A is I think I could hit this, 3B, I'm a little less sure about this. And they're only 2.5 kilos apart. So I'm going to pause the video here and then quickly fill these numbers in. Alright, so I've got my numbers filled in here. So essentially, this is how it works. My estimated 1 rep max for squat is 535 pounds. And then my 3A and 3B are 534 or 540 on either side of that. And then same thing for bench, 1 rep max is 380, and I'm going 380 or 385. And deadlift, my 1 rep max is estimated at 650, so I'm doing 650 or 656. So typically, my game plan would be, I'm going to do a 3A for squat just to really make sure I get it. And then after I complete my second attempt for squat, that's when I write in that 3A number and give it to the scorecard. And that's a good time to go, Daniel, that second attempt was a grinder. There is no way you're meeting this. Typically in my meets, I do 3A for squat just to make sure I'm hitting depth and get that out of the way. And then for bench, I'll do 3A or 3B depending how I'm feeling. And for deadlift, that's where honestly I can really get benefit from getting adrenaline going the most on a lift. And so I almost always go with 3B and know in my head that there's really a secret 3C number, another 2.5 kilos above, if I want to try and go for a medal or something. However, provincials, I am finding out that my lifting time is 6 p.m., which isn't terrible. I usually work out in the evening, so I'm not too worried about my energy levels for that reason. However, with the 2-hour weigh-in, that also means my weigh-in is at 4 p.m. And because of that, I don't want to go all day fasting and then expect myself to perform at my absolute best. So instead, what I have done this past month is I've cut down an extra kilo. So usually, my plan would be a couple days before the meet, be 94 kilos, and then the day before, basically just stop drinking water after supper, don't eat breakfast, go weigh in at 93, and then I'm good to go. I can eat, hydrate, ready to go for the lifting. But now it needs to be a couple days before, be 93 kilos, probably stop drinking water the day before, and depending how nervous I am, and then I can, this way, the next day, I'll still eat breakfast, I'll still eat lunch, I probably won't drink water throughout the day, so that I can still weigh in later in the day at 93 kilos, because usually I'm weighing myself in the morning right when I get up, because that is the most consistent state that I am in each day. So that's kind of sucked, because usually I'm going in a bit of a caloric surplus going into the meet, but now I've had to be in a caloric deficit for a lot longer than I wanted to. And then these last couple weeks before the meet, I'm just maintaining calories and just staying at that 93 kilos. Because of this, I'm a little bit concerned about how my energy levels will be late in the day. So instead of the usual plan of 3A, maybe 3A or 3B, and then 3B, the plan is 3A, 3A, and 3A again. Because if you're looking at the totals here, if I do all of my 3A attempts, I get the 710 kilo total, which is exactly the qualifying total I need to be able to compete at nationals. And that is the ultimate goal here, which is why I'm not afraid to really show these numbers before I'm actually competing in the meet, because my goal for this meet isn't to get first or beat a certain person, it's to hit a certain total. And that is what I'm looking for right now. So no, maybe I could push it on a couple to try and get it higher. However, the main thing is that I hit that 710, and when you want to try and build a high total, you need to make your lifts. If I miss a third attempt for squat, you can see that my best attempt is now 7.5 kilos less. And that gives me a lot of weight to make up. I basically need to try and find a way to add 15 pounds to the bar in these other two lifts. And the issue with that is I've already missed the lift that I think I can hit. What makes me think I can add weight to a lift that I think I can hit? So there's a few scenarios that I can go through here. So the first scenario is very basic. I do the 3A attempt for all three lifts, and I get my 710 kilo total. Super happy about it. Yay, it's a great day. So the second scenario is that I miss my third squat attempt. And so you can see my second attempt is 7.5 kilos less, so I need to make that up elsewhere. Bench, I will be forced to try my 3B attempt, which I'm still confident that I could hit. However, if I've already missed my squat attempt, now I'm a little unsure about, okay, why did I miss it? If I just screwed up on technique, that's different than say I am just feeling tired and wiped for lifting this late in the day. That's a problem, and I probably won't be able to hit this weight. And then for deadlift, since I mentioned before, sometimes I can usually squeak out a 3C attempt. That is a case where I would use the 3C weight so that I can still hit 710 kilos, get my goal, and it's a great day, but it's a bit more of a struggle. Lastly, I'll be fighting a little bit of temptation during this meet. The reason being that my 3C attempt is 300 kilos. However, the provincial record for deadlift in my weight class is 301 kilos. And you're probably thinking, oh, it's so close, you might as well go for it. Well, if the meet was in the morning, my dream scenario would have been I do my 3B attempt for squat, which is 245 kilos. Then I do my 3B attempt for bench press, which is 175 kilos. And that brings us to 420 kilos. Then what I would have done is on my second attempt for deadlift, instead of 285 kilos, I would have just bumped it up to 290 kilos, which then would have got to me my 710 total. Yay, it's a good day, and now I still have a third deadlift attempt. Then I could try beating the provincial record, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. So that's the biggest thing for a meet, is you have to know why are you at that meet, what are your goals, and try not to get distracted, because people will get distracted on meet day, and then unfortunately you can send it to try and get more than one goal, or to get your main goal and a bonus goal. However, if you're a little too distracted and a little bit too ambitious with your efforts, you can end up walking away with none of your goals achieved, which is unfortunate. So I'm willing to pass up the deadlift provincial record, because if training continues to go well, which deadlift never gives me any drama, I can go to nationals and I can still break that provincial record. It won't be as exciting as nationals, but it still would be really cool to break that provincial record. So that's the plan for the meet. The meet will be on this Saturday. I will put a link to the live stream in the description of this video so you can just get a quick shortcut. The lifting will be at 6 p.m. Saskatchewan time, and I am in Flight B, so I'll probably start lifting at around 6:30 unless the meet is just delayed in general. After the meet, I will post a recap as soon as I can, and then I will talk about the next steps from there based on whether or not I qualify for nationals. So, I hope your training is going well, and I hope to see you in the next one.
Go, 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 go. I never ran, so no, no, still go.